All right, friends, welcome back to the Crisis Report. It is, or at least it was, November 13th, 2025. Brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. We'll have more on that later on. We are not going to take a lot of time to get into it, so we're just going to get into it. This one's entitled Blowback because there's all kinds of blowback all over the place, from the files to other things. And so I was like, all right, if one word can cover all this stuff tonight, it's blowback. Sorry I did not get a crisis report alert earlier. I was just simply too busy. So we are going to just put it all together because I have the report actually prepped and ready. So this is just a long form report of everything from the day. Okay. So we appreciate you being here. Please hit that like button, do the subscribe thing, darken out the bell. Join us on our other channels like PrepperNow or subscribe to our locals, Substack, Gab Minds, Twitter, Truth, X. And we will be appreciative of all that. Or you can, of course, join us as a member like John Dearman or Numinous. We appreciate that as well. Keeps the mission going. And the mission is to give you good information in a consolidated form. So you got to sit there and BS all day long trying to figure all this stuff out. We get it from all over. Some things I agree with, some things I don't agree with. I'm going to give you every angle, okay? You might hear something from the New York Times. That makes you mad. Don't worry. I got one from, Red State as well, or something like that. They're literally from all over the internet. And that's because, you need an evolved view. You got to see everything from all different sides and get all kinds of different viewpoints, even from places you don't really enjoy, to get the full picture. So, and it is comprehensive. All right. All right, friends, let's get going. God bless you all. This is your crisis report for November 13th, 2025. Here we go. Attorneys representing former FBI Director James Comey and New York AG Letitia James are heading back to court to urge a judge to dismiss their criminal indictments. Rickard Johnson, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate you. You know that. My brother from up north. God bless you, brother. All right, back to it. Author Michael Wolff reportedly urged Jeffrey Epstein to blackmail then presidential candidate Donald Trump, claiming Epstein could use it to create leverage over him. Wolff is the same guy that, like, years ago was doing all kinds of anti-Trump stuff. There's been a lot of stuff that's coming out, and someone made a good point. Like, if this was so earth-shattering, like, don't you think they would have used this during the campaign? Seriously. You don't think they would have trotted out something in July of 2024? No. So this whole thing is like, they redacted Virginia Giuffre, or whatever her name is, her name from things, and this is all just kind of, I don't know. Again, is anyone going to go to jail? No. So why do you care? What is it going to do for us? Nothing. Just make a bunch of people online talk about it. Meanwhile, foreclosures are up and the entire housing market's taking back big freaking diarrhea in the bed. I'd be more worried about that. Okay, this is bread and circuses here, honestly. Newsflash, check this out. This is going to blow you away. Check this out. All the people, and I mean all of them, that are in places of power are more than likely evil and have done a lot of crappy things to a lot of people. Things you don't even want to know. Okay? And there's not a thing you can do about it, or me. So, sitting there with this palace intrigue crap and all that, it's not going to do anything. Understand the geopolitics, understand where things are going, and prep like your life depends on it, because trust me, it does. X fined 5 million euros in Spain over cryptocurrency ads because they don't like them. X is leftist anyway, whatever. Juan Ponce Enrile, architect of the Philippine martial laws, died at 101. Spain orders nationwide poultry confinement over bird flu. It's getting bad, man. Dolph most likely suffered from genetic condition Kallman syndrome that can manifest itself in undescended testicles and a micropenis. Researchers and documentary makers said following DNA testing of the blood of the dictator. Cyber attack hits Danish government defense websites. Donald Trump has a plan to replace Obamacare by giving Americans cash to buy their own health insurance. It's just going to lead to inflation, bro. It's just going to lead to inflation. Flashy humanoid robots that have awed attendees at Web Summit in Lisbon this week are still far away from revolutionizing physical labor in factories and warehouses, Amazon's chief roboticist told AFP. Discredited author Michael Wolff, and he has been discredited, encouraged Jeffrey Epstein to blackmail then candidate Donald Trump, blah, blah, blah. Trump administration directed visa officers to consider obesity, other chronic health conditions such as heart disease and cancer and diabetes as reasons to deny foreigners visas to the U.S., according to the Washington Post. Thomas Sowell speaks to the media after being released on his bail this afternoon, says he'll never stop fighting for Australia. He is the right-wing nationalist down in Australia, So we're fighting for the future of Australia's identity, for its national spirit, for our race and civilization. Hail Australia. It's kind of like their Tommy Robinson. China's purchases of U.S. soybeans have stalled. China's purchases appear to have stalled less than 2 weeks after the U.S. touted a wide-ranging trade truce that signaled thawing relations between the world's two biggest economies. After a flurry of orders late last month, which were the first of this season, Chinese imports of U.S. cargoes seem to have faltered, according to traders who asked not to be identified discussing confidential information. Said they were not aware of new shipments. The pause is fueling uncertainty over whether the biggest consumer of American soybeans will import as much as Trump administration claims. Agreement with China is seen as crucial for providing relief to struggling American farmers who have been hit hard by inflation and high input costs. The Asian country has held off by buying U.S. soybeans for much of the season, hurting growers while giving Beijing a key bargaining chip during negotiations with Washington. The U.S. trade with China was worth more than $12 billion last year. Jeffrey Epstein paid Al Seckel to help clean his name online by removing bad articles about him. Email exchange is dated to 2010. Seckel was found dead at the bottom of a cliff in France in 2015, 10 years later. Cause of death still remains unconfirmed. I'm sure he totally lost control of his vehicle. Climate scientist, controversial claim the Gulf Stream could be near collapse. Put this on to Subscribe Star and Locals earlier because it's about the only thing I've been able to put over there and have time this week. But it's a big one. Key Atlantic current could be pushed to the brink of collapse within decades, supposedly ushering in a new ice age, dramatically raising sea levels. Climate scientists have claimed in a new controversial study published by the journal Communications, Earth, and Environment. New findings, at-risk current in question, the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, or AMOC, conveyor belt of the ocean that funnels warm water toward the ocean's surface from the tropics in the northern hemisphere. Current, which includes the Gulf Stream that runs from the Gulf of Mexico to the U.S. East Coast and across the Atlantic to Europe, helps maintain mild climate of Europe, UK, and U.S. East Coast. Study stated that the source of this marine temperature regulator, the Greenland ice sheet, is being thawed amid warming temperatures, causing meltwater runoff to leach into the North Atlantic, leading to stagnation. If you want to see more on that, just go watch the movie The Day After Tomorrow. Jake Gyllenhaal. White House lawyers are reportedly worried. Lauren Boebert and Nancy Mason recorded their phone calls with Trump where he begged, bribed, threatened, and even cried for them to reverse their votes on releasing the Epstein files. I don't believe that. Iran has completed the installation nearly of 200 kilometers of wall on the border with Afghanistan and will be continued up to the border with Pakistan. 4 days have passed after the dreaded Delhi blast. A lot has come out, investigation these past few days. Two things specifically caught attention are one, Turkey, key conspirators visited and were in contact with the handlers from Turkey. Two, ammonium nitrate used as the fuel for the explosives. You ask these two stand out. Well, most people covered the Middle East will be familiar with these two things. Turkey's soft spot for ISIS and ISIS's favorite chemical to make a vehicle-based improvised explosive device. Those who covered and watched the Battle of Raqqa, Battle of Aleppo, and Battle of Mosul remember these deranged people driving around in their explosive cars, cans towards troops, and then blowing themselves up. Iraqi forces totally demoralized because of the kamikaze tactics of ISIS. At the peak, ISIS will remember they created special factories to produce the ammonium nitrate, to be mixed with aluminum powder, fuel oil, creates a potent explosive, a mixture known as ANFO. Turkey has always been a bastion for these deranged, dumb-witted groups. It is no doubt after the ISIS physical collapse, Turkey embraced these terrorists with open arms and put them to work in the SNA after factions in western Syria. Real credit goes to the Indian authorities and intelligence agencies that came in in time to stop something much more sinister, which would have happened with a lot more civilians, could have been lost their lives, radicalized terrorists. It is no denial that ISIS is once again on the rise in Africa, Middle East, and plans blasts all over like India. Attached new links of ISIS-made crude VBIEDs using ammonium nitrate down below. Germany will medically screen all 18-year-old men to determine the fitness for military service. Yeah, they're not getting ready for war. Magdeburg Christmas market gets canceled due to security issues after 2024 car ramming attack by Talib A refugee from Saudi Arabia. Talib A charged with murdering 6 people, attempted murder of 338, grievous bodily harm. You might remember he's one driving a car at about 75 miles an hour in a Christmas market. Harm of 309 people and dangerous driving. Reports describe Talib A as critical of Islam and voicing support for Germany's AfD party. Sure. Mayor Simone Boris said that the Magdeburg Christmas market is now scheduled to open as planned on November 20th with extra security measures. So I guess they changed their mind. Big short investor Michael Burry is shutting down his fund, Scion Asset Management. Estimation of value in securities is not now and has never been for some time in sync with the markets. He's now 80% in puts. What does that mean? He's betting that the market is going to take a big thunder diarrhea. He got all of his money out of helping people, so I'm not doing that anymore. I'm putting everything into this whole thing going down. He made out pretty well in 2008 from what I remember. Chinese Foreign Ministry says if Japan intervenes militarily in the Taiwan Straits, China will strike back decisively. Not to play with fire on the Taiwan question. For those who play with fire will perish by it. UK abolishes police and crime commissioners, saving the taxpayer $100 million or sterling, with mayors and councils to take on the responsibility from 2028. What a brilliant idea. Now, don't have a police commissioner, someone on crime. Let a politician do it. That's going to go over great. Good luck, UK. U.S. Navy Arleigh Burke Flight 2A, class destroyer, U.S. Stockdale, currently off the coast of Venezuela. Transited between Aruba and Curaçao, currently 30 kilometers or miles, 48 kilometers off the coast. Additionally, U.S. Navy Ticonderoga class cruiser USS Gettysburg transited the sea area alongside the USS Stockdale, 30 miles off the coast. U.S. Navy C-2A Greyhound from the USS Gerald R. Ford fixed-wing logistics aircraft built to service aircraft carriers spotted on FR-24 heading to Puerto Rico, some 80 nautical miles east-northeast of the British Virgin Islands. Indicates presence of a carrier, Ford CSG or Carrier Strike Group, known to be operating in Southcom. USS Ford Carrier Strike Group is preparing to enter Caribbean Sea very soon for what they think is going to be a strike. Colonel Sajjad Azadeh of the Iranian Army General Ground Forces has publicly announced his defection from the Islamist regime in Iran, pledging allegiance to Iran's lion and sun flag. He declared that great things are underway and that soon this regime of lies, deceit, and occupation will come to an end. There's been a lot of that going on. Something's going on in Iran. Might be a one-off, might be just some people taking some social media because they're mad. But the lion and sun flag is being seen all over. It is the flag of Pahlavi. You might know him. He's the guy that wants to take over, who his family was in charge. They want to put him back. He's the Shah of Iran. Something's going on. There's been a lot of like defection and a lot of videos out there of the sun and lion flag going on, or lion and sun. Interstellar visitor blazing through our solar system shows startling signs that it may not be a comet, something truly alien. Object known as 3I Atlas recently survived a scorching flyby of the sun, completely intact, something no natural comet should be able to do. Mr. Blue Beam on my shoulder, we must unite as a globe to take on the alien invaders. We are all one religion, one. U.S. Senator John Fetterman rushed to a hospital, life-threatening heart problem. He had something defibrillation. I'll get into it. Morning walk. Mysterious black ring was spotted over Disneyland. Looked like a big, huge smoker circle, but more than likely some of our alien friends that are now starting to come down. Red Terror will stop. United States State Department declares 4 far-left extremist groups foreign terror organizations. They are Antifa Ost, Hammerbund, Informal Anarchist Federation, International Revolutionary Front, Armed Proletarian Justice, and Revolutionary Class Self-Defense. Just some of your shock troops of the Democrat Party. U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth on X says that Trump has ordered action in the Department of War's delivery. Today I'm announcing Operation Southern Spear. Led by the Joint Task Force Southern Spear and Southcom, this mission defends our homeland, removes narco-terrorists from our hemisphere, and secures our homeland from the drugs that are killing our people. The Western Hemisphere is America's neighborhood, and we will protect it, as God is my witness. Strategic Partnership and Cooperation Agreement between Russia and Venezuela comes into effect. Agreement enacted by Putin and Maduro expands interaction between both countries in the political and economic spheres, including energy, mining, transportation, communications, as well as security and fight against terrorism and extremism. President Trump is set to attend the World Economic Forum in Davos. Klaus, the Great Reset. Canada announces a $1.7 billion plan to recruit top H-1B visa holders from the U.S. Take them. German Journalists Association, DJV, calls on the BBC not to cave into Trump and accuses Trump of being an autocrat. DJV stands for the Douchebag Journalists Vortex. Swear. Verizon cuts 15,000 jobs. Everything's going great. BBC apologized to Trump over deceptive editing of the J6, quote, Trump a second chance, question mark, democracy, documentary. Yep, they said it was, they disagree that there's a basis for defamation, though. Everything's great. NASA's twin Mars probes have named Blue and Gold, launched on Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin rocket to study how the sun stripped away Mars's atmosphere. Hegseth has installed a new Department of War insignia on the Pentagon. U.S. Catholic bishops have officially banned transgender treatments in thousands of Catholic-run hospitals. Top officials, including Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff General Dan Kane, Wednesday briefed President Trump on updated options in the coming days for a potential military strike on Venezuela. Plan includes strikes on land. Trump said to have remained indecisive, according to multiple sources familiar with the meetings that spoke CBS News. Kremlin spokesman stated that Europe is preparing to start a war with Russia. Who could have saw that coming? Ukrainian media reported the authorities in Kiev are preparing for the possibility of a partial evacuation of the capital Should the electrical power grid suffer a complete collapse, this scenario is considered in view of repeated strikes on energy infrastructure and the increasing risk of sustained blackouts. Ukrainian drone attacks are continuing on Novorossiysk, Krasnodar regions of Russia, and in return, Russia sent a massive attack on Kiev, which we call Thursday. There you go. You will eat the bugs. That's Crisis Report, friends. November 13th, 2025. God bless you all. Please keep prepping, doing the things. Join us here nightly where we go through this. Consider other areas. Twitter, Xmind, Gabs, True Social. Subscribe to our locals in Substack. A couple bucks if you want. Or you can become a member here like Brindle or Bad Bobber or Water Tiger. We appreciate you. Brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. You want to put your gold, your IRA or 401k in gold and silver. Highly rated company to do so. Friends, hit that like button to the subscribe thing. Darken out the bell, and we will see you on the next one. God bless you all. Have a great night.